Okay, let me just make sure that everything is looking good before I get going on this stream. Make sure that we got sound and everything. I'm gonna just check right here just to make sure there's not any technical issues. Sound and everything. Yep. I'm gonna just check right here. I can hear myself over there. So if you guys, if there are any issues, please will let me know. I'm Andrew Joseph Keith. I'm an artist and sculptor, and in this video, I'm going to be just kind of working on this sculpture that I started a little while ago and haven't gotten back to, but I thought I'd do some work on it while I did a live stream and just did a Q&A. And so if you guys have any questions about me as an artist, about the sculpting process, about my beliefs as a Christian, my beliefs regarding Jesus Christ or anything like that, feel free to ask those questions. I'd be happy to talk about anything, and yeah, I think should be a fun little live stream. If you're wondering about the materials, because that's something that I get asked often, I'm using some oil-based clay, so this doesn't dry out, and it allows me to do what I've done with this project, which is basically set the project aside for a couple months, and now I can come back to it and it's still perfectly workable. I don't have to worry about putting it in a bag or anything, or keeping it wet like I would have to do if it was natural clay. So I just have a clay that I can come back to and work with whenever I'm interested, and whenever I need to, I just come back and it's workable, and that's what I like. The difficult thing is that you do have to learn the mold making process if you want to make these sculptures permanent, and that's a whole thing in and of itself. And so that's kind of the disadvantage of this clay, is it is a long process to get it to a permanent sculpture. But this is ideal for if you're doing something for like bronze casting or something like that, that you can do the sculpture, make a mold, and then cast it. And that's what this clay is really good for. Tools, I have an assortment of just basic sculpting tools. There's some of these homemade tools, as well as these stainless steel tools that I really like, and just some cheap tools. So nothing special when it comes to sculpting tools. And then I have a knife if I need it. That's really helpful, but just basic stuff, you know. The references that I'm using are references of myself. So let me zoom in a little bit so I can show you guys a little bit and kind of explain how I did these. So I set these up in the studio where I'm filming right now, and I just set a cloth on the floor and then had a couple different poses that I did of myself, just with a robe around, you know, a couple different stances to try to decide how I wanted this Christ portrait to be. And this is something that I do all the time. I think as an artist, you should be able to use yourself as a reference, even if you don't have the exact characteristics of the sculpture that you're doing. You can always change it, but it's good to have a reference, to have kind of a starting place to go from. And so that's what I have right there. Let me zoom out again. And you can see that I've kind of got this started. Somebody says, finally catching a live. Yeah, I haven't done these in a while, so welcome. And if you have any questions regarding anything, feel free to ask, and I'd be happy to answer those questions as we're going. This sculpture was started during a session of what we call General Conference for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is the church that I am a member of. And during General Conference, the leaders of the church, the prophet and the 12 apostles and other leaders of my church, of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they come and talk to us. And so that was just a chance that I had while I was listening to start this sculpture, and that's kind of the inspiration behind it. Or I just thought, oh, it would be good while I'm listening to these topics on Christianity and on the gospel, to start a sculpture of Christ, the risen Christ. There's a question Somebody else is asking monster clay or another one. This is actually dollar store non-dry modeling clay, and I've added just a little bit of wax to it, some beeswax, and so it's just a little bit firmer, but not too much. But it's pretty similar just to the clay that comes in a bunch of different colors that you can get from Dollar Tree or other places. And I've just mixed a color that I liked. It comes in a bunch of colors, but I melted it down to get a consistent color that I liked, and that's the clay that I'm using. So nothing special. So yeah, that's how I started this. It's just during a session of conference. And somebody was saying, oh, this Christ probably wasn't this muscular. I like exercising. I like being fit. And so that's true. And something I thought about, wanted to talk about was that people talk about, oh, well, we don't really know what Christ looks like. And a lot of these artists, they just make Christ look like basically them. They make it look like somebody that's from their culture or has their facial features. And I think that's an interesting thing. I thought maybe I could talk about that a little bit during this live stream, and if you guys have thoughts in the comments, I'd be happy to hear about those. Somebody says, never thought about mixing beeswax in. Yeah, it's a great way to firm up the clay just a little bit, and beeswax is it can be a little bit expensive, but it's a common additive to these oil and wax based clays that makes the clay a little bit firmer and has some good properties. And so I'd say if the non-dry modeling clay that you get is just a little bit soft, then some beeswax might be helpful. And some people also add paraffin wax, though that you have to be careful not to add too much of that, because that can not behave as well when it comes to the actual sculpting. So I think there's a recipe that says that you add like a cup of, or 100 grams of beeswax, 100 grams of paraffin wax, and then 400 grams of the non-dry modeling clay. I think that's something like the recipe that I used for this one. I think it does have paraffin and beeswax, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it works well as a sculpting material. Let me change the framing just a little bit, so that, because I feel like you guys can't see as much as I'd like, so I'm gonna have it more over my shoulders. Sometimes it's hard when you're sculpting to get the view exactly as you want. Let me just make sure I get the framing, and then I'll answer a few more questions that I see coming up. Let's see. Where did it go? It looks like it's frozen right now. One sec. Let me see. Let me make sure that I'm not. Oh, one sec. Sorry that when I was moving the camera, the connection was bad, so hopefully you guys can still hear me, but I'm just going to reframe, and that should just come on in just a sec. There we go. So you can be a little bit more zoomed in. Let me make sure that we're going. Let's see. Oh, it's still frozen here. One sec. Oh man, technical difficulties. Yeah, you guys can hear me, but you can't see the thing, or it's frozen. So I had to unplug and replug the camera. So let me just check. Shoot, let's see. Let me Try this again. Hopefully I don't have to start the stream over. That would be a nuisance. Let's see. So there you can see the what I'm looking at. Man. Oh, okay, so that's the camera, but it's not. Well, looks like I might need to start over. For some reason, the camera is frozen, and it won't let me. Oh, wait. Here we go. Oh, that might have been it. Let me see if that worked. Did that change? No. Okay, let me answer the questions, and then I might need to restart the live stream. Hey, I want to ask how you can how you come from adding the muscles and fat pads to the finished surface that looks like the skin with muscles underneath. Greetings from Sweden. Yeah, that blending is a tricky thing, getting everything as soft as you want. So let me let's see. And then somebody's asking if I'll be holding another contest. The answer is yes to the contest, and I'd like to be able to show you for the next one. So let me restart the stream. I apologize for technical difficulties, and I'll just redo this pretty much exact stream in just 1 sec. So I'm going to end it and be right back. Sorry about that.